when you love something and when you love what you're doing, at least enough to want to keep swimming, you'll find a way to stay in the pool. If you're looking for an out, you will find a way out.
Life is not supposed to be easy. Life is supposed to be challenging. I have that belief. It's what do you do when the challenge comes?
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of Next Level University, where we teach you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode, number 1166, Why So Many People End Up Quitting. Today, for episode number 1167, if you're looking for an excuse, you'll find one. And on the opposite front, if you're looking for a way to stay in the game, you'll also find one. So, Alan, thank you. I appreciate that. I've named 1,170 episodes. You think I'd... Almost. I don't know. I think you've named some, too.
I definitely, the ones that got no listens.
The worst ones, yeah.
Yeah.
We were... So, as you know, we did a lot of traveling. If you're listening to this, we'll be home, and it'll have been like... I don't know, when's this dropping? Saturday. So, we have been home since Wednesday, if you're listening to this.
We hope you had a good Thanksgiving.
Yes.
If you celebrate Thanksgiving.
Yes. Happy Thanksgiving if you celebrate. Happy holidays. So, a lot of lessons from this trip. Mm-hmm. We were finished in Wisconsin. We gave our speech on Wednesday. We were flying out Wednesday night.
No, Thursday night.
Thursday night. Okay. We gave our speech on Wednesday.
You did book this whole trip.
Yeah, no, I know, but it's a blur. We gave our speech on Wednesday. Alan and I both had very busy days on Thursday, so it made more sense to stay in Wisconsin an extra day and leave that night. Mm-hmm. So I have my final call on Thursday. Alan has his final call on Thursday. We pack up. We're saying, all right, cool. We're going to go home for Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night. Sunday morning, we're going to get up, and we're going to drive from Massachusetts to where we are recording this, Toronto. And we said, awesome, cool. We're going to have some days with our families, and it's going to be great.
Which is a 9-hour drive.
Which is a 9-hour drive from Massachusetts to Toronto. So we go to the airport. We drop off our car. Boom, we're good to go. Awesome. Pretty small flight, smaller plane. Everything's great. Awesome. So we get there early, as we do, because I'm in charge of logistics, so naturally we do. So we're getting ready to approach the time where we're going to board, and somebody comes out of the gate, and they say over the loudspeaker, hey, we just came in and landed, and when we landed, we didn't have any front wheel steering. So unfortunately, we're going to have to fix that before we take off. Let's hope it works. I don't want to be here any longer than you do. Let's see what happens. And
that was the pilot.
That was the pilot. I told Alan, I said, hey, we're not leaving. I can tell you right now, we're not leaving.
Yeah. And front wheel steering sounds important.
Sounds important.
Yeah,
it sounds important.
Yeah.
So Alan's working feverishly on his laptop. I am just, at this point, just get me home. I want to be home. We wait another half hour, and somebody comes out and says, hey, mechanics are on their way down there now. We're going to see what happens. We're going to see if this gets squared away. And I was like, Alan, there's no way. There's no way. There's no way this happens. So another half hour probably goes by. And
it's 2 hours.
Was it 2 hours?
Total.
Okay. Yeah. So let's just say another hour.
They canceled it, so we were supposed to board at 5, and we ended up canceling it. They canceled it at 7.
Yeah. So they end up coming out and saying, hey, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to take off tonight. We're going to make sure everything's okay. We'll get you rebooked. No worries. And Alan is still working. And I was like, all right, let me go into logistics mode. Let me figure out what to do. I'm not waiting in that long-ass line. Let me see if I can go online and figure it out. So I end up going online and going on the website, JetBlue website. Useless, couldn't do anything. I ended up connecting with customer service. And they say the earliest flight we can get you on is tomorrow at the same time you were supposed to take off today. Only problem is it's already half full, and we can't guarantee that we can get you on. And I said, all right, if you can't do that, what can you do? And they said the day after that. So it was Saturday. They said, we can get you on a plane Saturday. I said, no, we can't wait till Saturday. What are we supposed to do? So I end up going up to the counter, and I said, hey, if we book a flight not through you guys, say it's like $700, are you going to refund us? And they said, we will refund everything. We'll refund the rental, everything. We have to. That's the way it works. And I said, all right, cool. So Alan and I start talking. And we go, luckily we had the Airbnb for the extra night because I knew we were going to be working all day. Cool. So we go down, we rent the car again. And we say, hey, we're going to rent the car for one night. We're going to go back to the Airbnb. Awesome. We get back to the Airbnb. I think it's the next day.
No, so I talked to Emilia, you talked to Taryn
It was
on FaceTime
I think
that evening.
Was it that evening?
It was that evening.
Okay.
And then Emilia and Taryn both had the same idea of like,
Yes.
why are you coming home?
Yes.
Because you're only going to be home for like a day at this stage. Yeah.
Yes. So I had already booked the flight,
Yeah.
which was $800. And yeah, so Taryn and
Now we
Emilia.
have Delta Bucks.
Now we have Delta Bucks. Taryn and Emilia had the same idea of, hey, I want to think of you as much as we want you to come home. You're literally going to fly home for one night or maybe two if you're lucky, and then you're going to drive.
And mind you, this is my birthday. So Thursday was my birthday, which was November 17th, and Emilia and I had a date planned on Saturday, like a whole thing. Again, not that big of a deal, but movie, sushi, you know, I know she was going to make something special. She always does. And so I knew that that was another thing she really was looking forward to. And I obviously was as well, and so that's just something I wanted to add.
Yeah, that's good. I forgot about that because it seems like it was a week ago.
Yeah.
So we go to bed that night, and Alan and I said, all right, we're just going to go to Toronto.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. It doesn't make any sense. All right, let's do that.
Do you have your passport?
Do you have your passport? Yes, I have mine. Do you have yours? Awesome. Cool.
That was to Taryn. Thank you
Yes,
for that,
yes,
because
yes.
that would have been terrible.
Yes. So we go to bed that night. I get up a little bit earlier because I think I had a bunch of stuff to do that day. We had to check out of the Airbnb. It was a whole thing.
We did our coaching calls in the
lobby
of the Airbnb. Yeah.
I woke up and I called Budget. That's who we rented the car through. And I spoke with this young lady and I said, hey, I'm trying online to change my reservation from returning it to Wisconsin to returning it in Boston. Can you help me with that? And she said, no, I can't change it. And I was like, there's no way that's right. I didn't say that to her. I was very kind to her. Yeah. And I said, let me try again. I called again. Somebody else picked up and I said, hey, I'm looking to change from this to this. And the person's like, yep, cool. Okay, cool, we'll do this, where you're returning it, awesome, $850. You cool with that? And I was like, not really, no, but whatever, it is what it is. All right, cool.
So you said 1,000.
It was 1,000 total, including what we've already paid.
Got it.
So it was 1,057 or something. Cool, awesome. Now we have our rental car. All right, now we got to find an Airbnb for that night.
Yeah.
So I find us another Airbnb in that building.
Same building.
Awesome. So now we have another Airbnb. So the fact that we had a flight cancellation and it would have been 10 out of 10 easier for us just to fly home and message Evan Carmichael. So we're in Toronto because we're interviewing Evan Carmichael on Tuesday. So it's Jeff because you're listening to this, but it's already happened, but it hasn't happened for us yet. It would have been very easy for us to say, look, Evan, our flight got canceled. We haven't seen our wives/girlfriend in however many days. We were supposed to see them in between. We're going to end up getting home the day before Thanksgiving.
It's my birthday.
It's Jeff's birthday.
Yeah.
It's mayhem. We're going to have to reschedule. We end up driving from Wisconsin 10 hours to Toronto, and we got here and we ended up working out. And then we set up, if you're watching this, we set up our studio.
First we went to a different Airbnb. So first we drove to that other house.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, we drove
so
to
we had another
house.
Airbnb.
We had another
in
Airbnb that Kevin booked.
So
that
we had three in
I
Wisconsin.
had calls that entire Saturday. So I had like 8 calls that day.
I had a nap.
And Kevin had a nap and
UFC.
watched some UFC. And that was actually a nice day/evening, honestly. And then we watched Meet the Parents that night.
Had tacos.
And had tacos again, which was great. Another shout out to Mike's Tacos.
Taco Mike.
Taco Mike. I keep screwing that up. And in Milwaukee, Taco Mike. And then the next morning we wake up at 6 a.m. and drive to Toronto, which was a 9-hour drive. Ended up being 10 because we stopped a few times.
Yes.
Yep. And now here we are in Toronto. That was the way more difficult path, but the far more rewarding one in the long run. And now you're watching this episode, and if you're on YouTube, you can see the high rise we're in, overlooking Toronto. It's still freaking me out a little bit with the heights, but this never would have happened if we were to find an excuse. We had 1,000 excuses. There could have been any number of valid excuses in there. And we could have canceled calls, we could have whatever. And we made it work.
Well, and then the other thing too is last night when we got here, I messaged the Airbnb host and I said, hey, is there a gym? Because this is like a hotel, but it's
so a half hotel, half
condo.
Yeah.
So I messaged him and said, hey, is there any way we can work out at the hotel? Like, do they accept it? Do they accept Airbnbs? And he said, you're going to have to pay, but you can check it out. And I looked it up online. It was garbage. Yeah. We found the closest...
nice gym.
The closest Anytime Fitnesses were 15 or 25 minutes away.
Yeah.
We're not going to do that. Another part of the story is our car is parked 6 layers underground in this very anxiety-provoking parking garage, which I do not want to leave until we have to leave for good, because I don't want to have to go back down there. Because I was like...
If you have any claustrophobia...
It ain't for you.
It ain't for you.
And it's not for me either. So we end up finding a gym. It's 6 minutes away. It's a 6-minute walk.
Good Life Gym.
$25 per day pass.
Although if you donate, it was only $20.
They let us in for free the first night, which was awesome. Today we paid $20. But again, that's another thing is like, it's not ideal. Yeah. It's costing us money to go there. It's cold. It's a 6-minute walk. There's a lot of reasons, quote unquote, not to do it. And this has always been one of my favorite analogies, and I use this with podcasters, but I think it's good for life, is when you love something and when you love what you're doing, at least enough to want to keep swimming, you'll find a way to stay in the pool. If you're looking for an out, you will find a way out.
Of course.
And I connect that to mixed martial arts. As you know, I love mixed martial arts. You can tell when somebody's really getting their butt kicked and there's some sort of foul. Maybe they get kicked low, they get kicked in the cup, they get eye poked, whatever. You can tell that some people are thinking, okay, this is my way out. I'm getting my butt kicked. I'm probably not going to win this fight. Let me bow out here and say, you know what, I can't see. Again, it's a pretty extreme sport, so that can happen. But there's other people who say, I've literally seen this, where they would just guess. So they would have an eye that was swollen so bad that the doctor would go in there and say, how many fingers am I holding up? And they would just guess. Like, 4? And they had no idea, but they wanted to keep going. They wanted to stay in the pool. So if you're looking for an excuse, you will most likely find one. If you're looking for a reason and a way to stay in the pool, you most likely can find one too.
I'm going to share this briefly as well. So I'll do this anonymously, but there's someone in my life who often looks for signs. And I understand why that is. But there was something that came up that was a big roadblock, a big challenge. Whenever Kevin and I find a roadblock or a challenge, if we want it bad enough, if we want to succeed bad enough, if we want to stay in the pool in this analogy bad enough, we'll find a way. We'll find a way, one way or another. Book it, put it on the credit card, whatever it has to be. One time we actually didn't have the revenue to do an event, and we actually contacted one of my ex-college roommates who does very, very well in finance, and we gave him a 33% return on his money. So he lent us $3,000. We ended up paying him back $4,000. Granted, it did take longer to pay him back than I anticipated. But either way, that's a huge return. So he made a return on his money. It's a win-win. Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. This person that I'm referring to is looking for signs, and the problem is I think she's looking for signs to not follow through. And I see this a lot. Like, oh, okay, so that roadblock came up. So do you think maybe this is a sign that this is the wrong approach or the wrong thing or maybe the wrong place? You got to be really careful with that. Sometimes there are signs that this isn't maybe quote unquote meant to be. I don't even want to say that because I think that's an excuse in some ways. Oh, well, it wasn't meant to be. I think that can be relinquishing responsibility. And I think that at the end of the day, could we control that the plane's front alignment was not working and the steering was off and the wheel, whatever? No, of course not. There's nothing Kevin and I can do about that. That is life. I have a deep belief that life is not supposed to be easy. Life is supposed to be challenging. I have that belief. It's what do you do when the challenge comes? So challenge comes, flights get canceled. It's my birthday, whatever, no big deal. A lot of people the next day were like, oh, I'm so sorry, your 34th birthday sucked, all that stuff. To me, it's like, honestly, it just makes sense. I'm the one who chose to go on this trip during my birthday. I'm the one who knows that planes sometimes get delayed and or canceled. Like it's always a chance. The only wrong answer is to not follow through.
Hi, my name's John Laurito, and I just wanted to give a big shout out to Kevin Palmieri. I had reached out to him. He had been referred to me when I had shared with a friend of mine some interest in doing a podcast, and he said, "You've got to use Kevin. He's fantastic. He's the best around. He'll get you started and off the ground and soaring high." Kevin was phenomenal in terms of leading me through the whole process, and not just easy to work with, but really, really knows his stuff. So whether you're looking for somebody to help you and get you started, or somebody, as I've done, where I'm putting it entirely in his hands because I've got total trust and confidence in him, any of those ends of the spectrum, you're going to have a lot of success and a lot of fun working with Kevin. Trust me. Thanks.
So Kevin and I spent more money, spent more time and effort, and we're willing to take a sacrifice. I miss Emilia so much. I know you miss Taryn. I miss Tucker and Tariel, my cat and my dog. I know you miss the boys, Fudge and Ace. And, you know, I know that's a sacrifice, and that's a conscious choice Kevin and I made. And luckily we have partners that support us in that. And I know they're feeling it too. They miss us very much, and the household and all that. We had our housekeeper coming over on Saturday, and that was a deep clean first time. And so Emilia had to figure out what to do with Tucker and Tari during all that, and while also doing her calls, while also running her full-time job. And so at the end of the day, it's so easy to find an excuse. There's a million excuses you could find to not follow through. But at the end of the day, I'll never forget this for as long as I live. Kevin and I, downtown Boston, book a hotel room. David Meltzer's flying in. He comes up to the hotel room and sees that we rearranged the whole hotel room much like this to record our episodes. And after that, we ended up being on his show 22 times. He coached us for years. And I know that wouldn't have happened if we had made an excuse. We don't have the money, we don't have the time, we don't have the resources. We got to the hotel room. Well, we can't do the episodes because it's dark in here. Kevin broke a light, so can't do it. There's a million reasons why you can't do something. I think at the end of the day, you have to be resourceful. When there's a roadblock that comes up, you can say, okay, it's not meant to be. Or you can find another way around. Go under it, go over it, go through it, go around it, crawl up and over it. And at the end of the day, you and I are always trying to figure that out. And I think we're good at that. I think we suck at a lot of stuff, but I think we're really good at that. I think we find a way to make it happen. Even when we don't have the resources, or even when we don't have constantly, right? In business, it's like, okay, well, that department's not winning. Okay, what do we do? Maybe Amy Lennius can run Next Level Nation. Okay, right? So it's innovation. When you hit a roadblock, it's innovation. You either innovate and grow and learn and find a new approach, or you stop.
Well, even again today, I love episodes like this where the reason we're doing them is because it's something that happened on the trip. Because usually when one thing happens on the trip, there's a lot of different parallels. This morning, we got up and our plan was, okay, we're going to record 7 episodes today because we're traveling all day Tuesday. That's wash. Well, we're with Evan and then we're traveling. Yeah. Wednesday, I'm going to be sleeping because I'm going to be up for however long.
Thursday, Thanksgiving. Friday, you and I both are packed, I'm sure. Friday and Saturday, completely booked.
Yeah. So we have to record all our episodes. Okay, awesome. That's why I booked this place. This was my vision. Couch here. It's similar to this. Yeah. But we woke up. I set up the camera. And I said to Alan, I said, hey man, there's no way we're going to be able to do this during the day. It's way too backlit.
So for those of you who don't know, backlit, essentially we're complete. You couldn't see us. We're dark.
Yeah.
So picture the lights behind us instead of in front of us. You wouldn't be able to see our faces at all. We did that in one other episode. I forget. Was it Nikki Starr or something like that?
No, that was good. Nikki Starr was really good.
Yeah, that was good because that was...
I don't remember what it was.
We've done it before where you can't see our faces because we're so backlit that it's basically like a shadow. You would just be looking at shadows. Yeah. And so we had to wait, and we looked it up. Sorry to interrupt you. No, we looked it up. 4:47 is when I said I Googled it. When is sunset in Toronto? And it said 4:47. It was like, okay. And Kev had the idea of, let's go to the gym. Normally we go to the gym in the evening. Let's go to the gym in the morning. Let's do all our work in the morning, and then let's record at night. And so now it's, 8:30 at night, and here we are doing that. And that was another pivot where we easily could have said, can't do our episodes. Can't do our episodes this week. We also are using lapel mics. Another part of the story, the plot thickens. Yeah. Kevin and I are in Milwaukee. We're about to drive to Toronto, and we're like, holy crap, we don't have our microphones. How are we going to record our episodes? We have to fly home. We can't do this. And I actually had the idea of, well, we have the lapel mics from the speech. We can use those. Yeah, our audio quality will take a little bit of a hit. And then Kev was like, well, what about the live podcast? Because in the live podcast, these don't live stream. In the live podcast, we live stream, and then we also record it and split it into 2 episodes. First 20 minutes is the topic, second 20 minutes is the Q&A. So we had to innovate 1,000 things, genuinely. Even this setup, I mean, we had to move things around, we had to get lighting, we had to wait for the right time, we had to close doors so that Kevin's laundry isn't making noise. There's 1,000 things that needed to shift, and we could have had 1,000 excuses. Instead, we made it work, and I do think that's something we do well, and I think it's impossible to do this many episodes without that mentality. And whatever that is for you, this isn't about Kevin and I, this isn't about this trip, this is about you and your own life, and this is about what you can do to try to stay in the pool. And instead of finding an excuse, find a bigger reason, find a deeper way, find a more innovative way, find a different approach. And if you do that, you'll get much farther.
Well, and it's interesting because we wouldn't have the microphone that we were passing back and forth for the live podcast if I wasn't doing podcasts while we were on the road. Yeah. It's almost like the tools that can get you out of the pool can also keep you in the pool.
Right.
In a way, where that if we didn't have that microphone, we would have had to figure something else out. We would have found a way, but that also could have been the way out of. Yeah, we don't have the
scenario,
microphone.
we might go buy a microphone.
That's very possible.
Right? There's a lot of ways. Yeah.
And again, I also want to throw this out there. I understand that, for a lot of people, and definitely us early in the journey, $1,000 rental car, $800 flight, another however much in Airbnbs. I understand that circumstantially is a lot for people. So your pool is going to be much different than ours.
And it's not just your resources, though, it's your resourcefulness. Because even when we didn't have money, we were resourceful, and we, went into a little bit of credit card debt.
$35,000.
We went into a solid amount of credit card debt. But we also we knew that it would pay off. And that's hard. That's another episode. Like, how do you know that will pay off when in reality that was just a risk? You got to take risk if you want to. But I think the resourcefulness thing is important. I think we're very resourceful when things go wrong. I think that's how we got here. One more tiny example. We're on stage and we had a audio video tech person. His name was Kevin too. So he was Kevin also. We call him Kevin too. Now, he was awesome and very humble, and he brought mics on stage and he said, listen, if the lapels stop working, because we had 2 lapel mics, right? No, we didn't, because we recorded the audio right through that. Okay, so we had these headsets on stage that came to our mouth. Those were awesome. But he also had these other microphones there, just in case something went wrong, we could pick up those mics and continue the speech. The principal ended up introducing us and bringing the microphone and using those microphones. So when things go wrong, like the flight getting canceled, or like the rental place first person saying, no, you can't do that, Kevin called again. See how there was just no giving up? Yeah. There was no giving up. It's not even an option for us. There's 1,000 things we could have given up on, and we just don't, and again, I'm proud of that. I am. And I know that that's something that's really difficult. It's been really difficult. It's been quite brutal, honestly. This whole trip has been very challenging, but I know we'll look back on this and be proud of what we did. Maybe not of what we ate, but I'm just joking.
I like to think of it as, you're setting the intention to get something done and you're looking for a result. Do you mind? The timer's gonna go off.
Got it.
You're setting an intention and you're looking to get a unique result. Are you willing to shift? Just because the approach has changed, does that mean the result should change too? And I really think that's what this episode is. If you decide, okay, the result, I still want the result, but the approach has shifted in so many different directions, I don't think I want it anymore, you're going to be in for a lot of those opportunities. You're always going to have the opportunity to find a way out.
Yep.
You always will.
Always.
And if you take that opportunity more often than you don't, you're not going to end up where you want.
Shout out to our team member, Brandon. He is 25 days in a row?
I think it's 21.
21, okay. So as of today, Kevin was on his story earlier, Brandon decided that he wanted to run a mile a day for a full year. And I think he can do it, I really do. And I'm rooting for him. 21 days straight, we just completed the live podcast with him probably an hour and a half ago. And he's like, I gotta go run my mile before I go to bed. And he has a million excuses why not to. It's cold, it's winter, he's in Chicago, he's sick, right? He's not feeling well. There's a million reasons why he could make an excuse. And at the end of the day, you either lower the target, in other words, make the goal smaller, like we could have canceled the Toronto trip, or you find a way. And one of those roads is harder, way more challenging, takes way more time, effort, and money. And the other road is easier, but it's much less fulfilling. And I think that you'll look back and thank yourself for taking the harder but more fulfilling road. And I know that we will look back on that as well. Even right now, I'm genuinely uncomfortable sitting on this couch overlooking this ledge. But I know I'll look back and be grateful that we did this. And that's hopefully something everyone can learn from. So
I had something else, but I lost it, so I don't think it'll come back. It's been, cognitively, it's been a tough, there hasn't been a lot of sleep on this trip, so that's a whole other thing. Next Level Nation, as you know, our goal and something we pride ourselves on very much is giving as much value away for free as possible. That's always our goal. So no matter where you are in your self-improvement journey or where you are in your financial journey, there is somewhere for you at Next Level You. We have a free course on our website. Alan and I sat in the studio on a Sunday, and it was 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours. I don't know what it was. But when we were creating it, our intention was not how do we create a free course that's easy for us to do. It was how do we create something that is super, super valuable. And we were actually going to charge for it until Alan said, look, we should give this away for free. I didn't want to at the beginning, but now I understand. I think that was probably the best thing we could have done. So I'm grateful that you pushed me and we did that. It is completely free. It's on our website. There are worksheets. You can share it with your friends. You can download it and take it at your own pace. I don't care. Give it to everybody. Again, totally free. It's very valuable, and it's a great opportunity for you to say, okay, I listened to this podcast, but what's the next step for me? Maybe it's not coaching. Maybe it's not coming to an event. Maybe it's not group coaching, but that is a great place for you to go. There's no risk to you. It's completely free, and I guarantee it is valuable.
I was on the phone with a client. Her name is Mo. Shout out to Mo.
Shout out to Mo.
And she said, I was doing a symposium recently, seminar or symposium, one of the two, virtually. And there was 90 people in the room, and I gave you a shout out for your article, Quantum Goal Setting. Awesome framework. Quantum goal setting is a simple framework that will help you take, this is what I want, and here are the other goals that I need to align in order to actually achieve it. In other words, what are the character traits I need? What's the inner circle I need? What are the skills that I need to master? You know, what is the contribution I need to do? What's the process? What's the recipe? That kind of stuff. Very simple. It's the first piece of writing that I consider to be on some of my favorite authors' levels. And again, that's just my perspective, but I was really excited to hear from Mo that she valued quantum goal setting so highly that she shouted it out and now has had 90 people consider trying it. So that is available also for free, speaking of free. So if you click the link in the show notes right now, you'll go to my LinkedIn page where quantum goal setting is. It's probably a 10 to 15 minute read, probably 10 minutes or less if you read it, 15 minutes if you do the actual exercise. You're gonna pick top 3 results goals that you want, and then you're gonna align your life to those. It's a lot simpler than what I can explain, and it's very, very, very powerful. I use it with my clients. It's a homework assignment that I use, and it's completely free to any of our listeners. Please go check that out. At very least, give it a try.
Next Level Nation, tomorrow for episode number 1168, Sunday's episode, Is Your Past Better Than Your Future? Alan and I have had some humbling moments here in Toronto around fitness and nutrition and dieting and mobility, just all things fitness, I guess. So we wanted to do an episode that is a vulnerable share on what we're experiencing, and hopefully you will connect with that. I'm sure you will. As always, appreciate you, grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we do not have fans, we have family. We'll talk to you all tomorrow.
Talk to you soon.